So Jason, I have a huge pile of gold fill.
Now this stuff is typically heavy gold plate over jeweler's brass. Traditionally what you do is you dissolve this in nitric acid. I'm gonna try a new method, and I'm a fire guy. There is a ton of junk in there, iron, copper, zinc, that we gotta get rid of, and that's typically done with acids. My goal is to oxidize all that stuff away and concentrate all of that gold and silver into a smaller button. A lot of copper in there still, I can tell. Now we gotta deal with this. Back in the furnace. Cornflaked it up. That did not work at all. We're not screwing around anymore. On today's video, we're gonna process our gold-filled jewelry all the way down to gold and silver. All the days and mistakes and equipment and chemicals, this is what it all comes down to right here. We're so close. No copper, no lead, no tin, no bismuth. Well, here I'll show you our little cheat sheet math department here. Hey man, congratulations.
At today's gold value, that's gonna be... Wow.
Here we are in the lab. I want to show you the gold fill we got here in these buckets. This is the stuff we're gonna be running. It's been all de-ironed, demagnetized, so there's no little iron bits or clasps or anything in here like that that's gonna screw up the reaction with our acids. So the first step is to get this stuff incinerated to remove any organic matter, oil, little hair, whatever, that might screw with our acid reactions. And the big deal for me is we're practicing with the gold fill. We're gonna get some gold and silver, and that's fine. And this is just a good way to experiment with the acid reactions. What I wanna do in the future is be able to take my gold from my mines, bring it in here, process it down to pure gold and pure silver that we can then turn into a product directly from the mine, which I think is gonna be really cool. But first we gotta figure out the process, and this gold-filled jewelry down here is a good way to start. All right, we're about ready to do our incineration step, but Harry from Mine Operators here helping me. So Harry, you're the expert here.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you do. So you're gonna walk us through most of the steps here.
Yeah.
And the first one is incineration.
That's right. Yeah, I gotta incinerate to get the people goo out. I don't have a ultrasonic cleaner, so just hit it with a torch. Not melt it, but get it hot, and then we can start.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, it's all stuck together. Here, I'll help. It's gonna help you?
Yeah, I got it. That's good.
Those long chains kind of give you trouble sometimes. There we go.
You didn't break them.
So the key here is to get it hot and drive off all the organics and oils and stuff, but not get it so hot you're melting anything. You don't want to melt any of this stuff. Can you tell if they're karat jewelry by how they react to the fire? No. Next batch. Here is all of our stuff heated up, quenched in water. We'll take that over to the other shop. One little thing that we did find was a little bit of tin in there. One of those little pieces melted. When we brought it over to the other shop, we're gonna add a little bit of nitric to get the reaction going. And then we're just gonna keep adding little bits of nitric until all the base metals in there are gone, which is mostly copper. Start with 100 and wait. The thing you don't want to have happen is add too much nitric, and it kicks off a real exothermic reaction and boils over. And
Key phrase, exothermic.
exothermic.
See how it's turned on nice and copper color now?
Yeah. Pulled all those oxides off. Add some more now. It's really nice and blue colored. We're at what, 300 milliliters of nitric, somewhere in there? 250. Nice slow reaction, nothing getting too exciting. And this is it. Been at it a couple hours now. We've added, what, 600 milliliters?
600 ml, yeah.
of nitric. Boiling away. I'm starting to see little gold flakes flutter around in there. You might just see one go past. So it's working. We just got hours and hours to go. We've been at it, what, a couple hours now?
Yeah. Still heavy in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, still heavy.
A lot of stuff. We're getting it. That cross looked like it was still real gold colored though, huh?
Yeah.
Wonder if that's karat gold.
That was in the unmarked, so I don't know what it is.
Wherever it is. All
Turning
right,
green.
we'll keep going. Turning green.
Iron,
Is that what that is?
maybe. When I did the last time, it was super blue. Now we're turning green, so there's some iron in there, unfortunately.
One other thing I wanted to mention here is we've learned all of this stuff from Sri Tips, which is another YouTuber. He does this pretty much professionally. So if you're really interested in what we're doing here, go check out Sri Tips. I'll leave a link in the description below. But thanks again, Sri Tips, for all the info. All right, we've been boiling away here. We've got what we think is pretty much, we're good to go here, right?
We're still making a little bit of fume, but it's pretty much done.
And so it's hot right now. Oh yeah, look at all that. Oh, we got a bunch of big stuff in there. I think that's all carrot.
There might be some carrot in there. It's hard to tell.
You gotta kind of mash it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool, man. So this is taking care of most of the base metals. We're gonna decant off the fluid,
Right.
and then we're gonna do another little batch of nitric to make sure we've got it all dissolved.
Right.
And then when it's not blue, but it's clean and clear.
If I don't see any reaction, so like when we redose it with nitric and distilled water, like if I don't see any more reaction, then I know it's done.
So we gotta let that cool down a bit, and they'll pour it here.
There's going to be all kinds of metals in here: copper, nickel, zinc, tin. But there's also some silver in there too. And generally, when you go to a refiner with gold fill, you don't get your silver back. You just get the gold. You get paid for the gold.
Okay.
So there should be, based upon our last test of this stuff, there should be somewhere around 21 grams of silver in that. So when we pour this liquid onto the copper, you're going to get a reaction where the silver will flake out onto the copper.
And everything else stays in solution.
Right, and so you'll end up with a copper nitrate, and the silver will be removed and all the other junk, and then that can go into your waste buckets, and then you can get the rest of the silver out if there is any, and then you can drop the copper out with iron later, and then deal with the waste solution.
Gotcha.
But at least we'll be able to get the silver out. 21 grams, kind of like bonus material.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how much actually comes out. So we'll be able to get the silver out, and then this will have all of our gold, our karat gold, left over in the foils.
Nice.
And then you can do your thing.
That's the next step. My thing. All right, now we're getting ready to filter off this solution here. All the base metals almost all the base metals are dissolved in this blue liquid, including whatever silver was available. So we're gonna filter it through this little funnel. We've got our vacuum system to help pull vacuum and pull it through faster. We're not gonna pour off the foils because we wanna add another couple 100 milliliters of nitric and make sure all our base metals are gone in case we didn't get them all in the first one. So Harry's getting all set up here to do our filtering step. Let's see how this goes.
They're all going in the smelt anyways.
They're all going to the smelt anyways. Working through our first filter here. Got maybe 200-300 milliliters. It's just going slow. There's a lot of stuff suspended in that solution, but it just takes its time, huh?
Yeah, as long as it takes.
As long as it takes.
If we let this settle for a whole nother day, it might make filtering a little faster, but
Right now we're going for it.
right now we're just doing it.
Right down at the end here, gonna suck the last of that solution through the filter paper, but all that purple mud on the filter paper is essentially colloidal gold, right, Harry?
The gold-plated material is kind of a nightmare to filter. Yeah, so when the base metals are dissolved, you're left with, you know, a couple microns of gold on the surface, and that just goes all over the place in solution. And now we're having the filter problems because of it.
But all that purple is gold,
Yeah, purple's gold. There'll be base metals attached to it, but it's mostly gold.
and we'll recover that later. And we'll just repeat this process for as many times as it takes. It's going so slow. You can see the amount of grit there. So it's not a fast process while I go away.
All right, so this is my baseline. We started with 800 grams of gold fill, mostly 10, 12, and 14K. Gold fill 1/20th. And then there was some plated stuff, and there's probably karat gold in there. So we put in 1,200 milliliters of nitric acid, and I'm in the process of dosing in another 200 milliliters. This is where we're at. There's some nice little gold fills floating on the surface. So I'm coming up on the halfway point here soon. I started kind of fishing around the gold filled foils there, and there was a bunch of chains in there that either weren't completely dissolved yet as far as the base metals, and additionally there's a bunch of pieces in there that are not reacting to nitric right now. So I think we have a large amount of necklaces that are karat gold. Just about to finish up the filtering process. Nice and clear blue, colloidal gold, bunch of karat gold, all of our foil gold. It was hard. Alright, make sure my filter paper didn't disintegrate since it's been sitting here for a while.
This is all of our gold foils.
It's pretty heavy, dude.
Good. I like that.
Get in there.
Oh, wait a minute. We're screwing up
Why?
because we don't have the karat gold.
You can add that on top.
I don't have it.
Oh, you gotta get it.
That's okay. We'll do this part. We'll do this one. We'll melt it together. I just want to see how pure this is.
We don't have to melt it together because you can figure out the weight and do the math. So when
Yeah.
you can add it when you inquart.
There we go. There we go.
I did a lot of filtering.
You did a lot of filtering. Yes, you did.
Luckily, it's not dry, which is good for our lungs.
We're doing a step that most refiners don't do here. We're just going to melt it all down. We have all of our foils. We're going to add some flux, melt it all into a button. We're adding back in all of our filter papers, all of our silver chloride, all of our copper nitrate, all of our silver nitrate. And what that stuff does when you reach high temperatures is it all converts to oxides. So there's going to be copper nitrate in there, but when we heat it up in our furnace, it converts to copper oxide and it absorbs right into our flux. The silver chloride converts to silver metal and releases some sort of chloride. And so we'll end up with just, hopefully, just pure gold and silver. There may be a little bit of metallic copper contamination in there that we didn't have enough nitric that ate it all up, but Harry did 2 or 3 different nitric boils at the end there. So we hope to just have a button of all the gold and all the silver that came out of RB stuff. That's the plan. All right, we're getting ready to pour our gold foils button pour. And our estimates are there should be about 20 grams of gold and about 13 grams of silver in this button. So if we get anything over a 33 gram button, we'll know that we have more gold or silver than we estimated, and we'll be able to shoot that with the XRF and find out exactly what we have.
Ugly.
There's a lot in there, man.
Well, that smelt didn't go quite the way we wanted. There were some beads in the slag that you probably saw. There's actually a chunk of iron sitting right on top of our gold button. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna analyze it with the XRF, and then we're just gonna put all the slag, everything back in the pot and remelt it, and I'm just gonna let it go for a while. I think I'm getting too impatient, I'm pouring too early. I'm not letting all that stuff have time to swirl around and coalesce down into the button. So we'll try it again. We didn't lose any, it's not gone. It's just it didn't get all coalesced into one spot like we wanted.
51. Yeah, 12 karat. Why is there so much copper in there still?
A ton of copper in there.
Yeah, we needed a second nitric boil.
We got to do something with that, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're marching our way through this gold fill video, and it's taken us literally months to get to this point. Now we're gonna look at some of those magnetic clasps and other stuff that we separated out that we didn't want to put directly in the nitric. We're gonna continue that process and try and get those precious metals away from that iron. Here's some of these magnetic clasps that we pulled out. They pull hard to a magnet, you can see like that. In a previous video, I smelted down a bunch of these clasps, about 50 grams worth. The magnetics in gold filled jewelry are typically a lot lower grade. They're more gold plated than gold filled. So either someone switched the clasp, or this is really, really heavy iron. I mean, it jumps right up to the magnet. It's very, very strong iron. Oh look, more copper. What is this way? We start with 37 grams. 34 grams. That did not work at all. And we're gonna test it with the XRF to make sure I got all the iron out, because you really don't want any iron when you're doing your nitric step, because it screws everything up and makes the filtering step really, really difficult. So this is our button. Copper, silver, some nickel, 11% nickel or so, gold, bismuth, and a little tiny bit of iron. Even though there's nickel, we can still run that through our nitric,
Right.
get the silver and everything out of the gold. The gold's going to be colloidal, so that'll be a problem. But at least we can process all of this through and get the gold out. What?
I'm just smiling.
What's this?
Well, this is gold-plated nickel.
Gold-plated nickel? Well, that's not worth very much money.
No, so this is going to be an experiment.
We're doing this separate from everything else. From our foils. We got all our foils we're going to smelt down as well. We got our gold fill down there. That's pure potassium nitrate down there in the bottom. I don't know how much it was. I didn't weigh much of it. I didn't weigh any of it. Now I'm gonna put some borax in there, anhydrous borax, to collect the oxides. This really isn't a smelting thing. I mean, it is. It's more of a melting thing. There's so little iron in this thing that we're gonna oxidize some iron, we're gonna oxidize some copper, some nickel, some other stuff. But really, we're just trying to clean it of all the iron, which is a very reactive metal, especially with oxygen. But we're gonna smelt it all down into a button, and then we're gonna remelt it without flux and cornflake it into cold water. So we get a huge surface area, which is gonna help it dissolve in nitric faster.
It's really hot.
Here's all of our metallics melted down. We don't want to see any iron in here. That's the one thing we don't want. So copper, silver, bismuth, nickel, gold, zinc.
3%'s not bad.
Awesome.
That's pretty good for gold fill.
That's pretty good. And it's no iron. So we can deal with that. Essentially what we have done is we have an alloy now that's crazy over inquarted with copper.
So what did you just add? I added sodium what are that? Potassium nitrate and borax. Lots of little stuff is going all over the table. Morning. How you doing? Oh yeah, much better.
We're gonna check our magnetics for the second time. This is our second smelt. And I think with this stuff in particular, and probably all my smelts in general, I'm just getting a little bit too antsy. I'm pouring too fast. The beads aren't coalescing down to the bottom of the crucible, and I'm just rushing things. When we let this one just cruise along for 15 minutes after all the flux was liquid, it turned out really, really nice. I mean, that's a great looking button. So now we'll XRF it again. It should have about 3.5 something percent gold, 8 or 9% silver.
Look at that, it's clean now. Just base metal.
So about half copper, 20% silver, 18% bismuth. Why is the iridium so high all of a sudden?
There must be some alloy in there confusing it.
Nickel, and then gold's at 2.3%.
Not unless someone put nickel that had iridium in it. You're gonna find out at the end.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get it all smelted down, or not smelted.
It's one of those annoying things people don't like about XRFs is sometimes you get erroneous numbers.
Yeah. But there's gold and silver in there.
That's all that matters.
We're down to 104. So we oxidized a lot of it away, but we still got 100 grams that we need to cornflake and eat with nitric.
That's a lot of nitric.
It's a lot of nitric.
We'll find out if magnetics are worth it or not.
Yeah. Well, if it's 2%, 2.5% gold, there's 2.5 grams in there.
Yeah.
So that's $300 or $400. It's a lot of legwork though.
That is a lot of legwork.
And we don't have it out yet, so we'll see how it goes. All right, here's our button. 56 grams. So it's about half gold is what the XRF is showing. So that's like 28 grams.
That's awesome.
That's way more gold than we thought we had. But there's still a bunch of junk in there.
Always do a second nitric boil when doing gold fill. There's no shortcut there.
Hey, we're learning. We're trying stuff. We're trying new stuff. Some of it's not working very well. But we got way more gold than we thought we would have, which is awesome.
Yeah, there was more karat gold in there than I was able to figure out.
An ounce of gold from 800 grams.
That's good.
That's great.
There's 7 grams of gold.
In karat bracelets and chains that is not in here.
Right.
And then we also have the gold in the clasps and stuff that we're going to fight with to get out. And then we also have the 2 grams you refined earlier.
From the 100 gram test.
2.3. So he's got like 40 grams of gold in 1,000 grams of gold fill.
Let's see how much makes it to 99%.
Let's see how much we can actually get out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. See if there's no little BBs around. We let it sit in the crucible for a lot longer.
We did.
Get hotter.
It's looking good.
It's looking more gold colored, isn't it? I put a little more oxidizer in. Ooh, it's hot. I don't see any beads in the slag. I think you just want to make sure it's really, really hot when you pour it. That actually looks really good.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than the last one.
It was about 50% gold earlier before we resmelted it. Yeah, still kind of in that zone, 53%. A little bit tin, a little bit of iron.
Yeah, the tin comes from solders, and then they use nickel for some of the alloys for like white gold, and then if we had any cadmium in there, the cadmium's from solders from like long ago when they still used them. So it looks like there's no cadmium left, which is good.
Well, there's no bismuth. 54. Yeah, we probably ate up a little bit more of the base metals. We gained, Harry.
That's good. That means you got some of them beads out.
59 grams instead of 56.
So 59 at 54% is 31 grams of gold.
There's an ounce
Yeah.
right here. We recovered more gold out of the slag, and we also increased the gold percentage.
Right.
So we reduced base metals. Wow, 31 grams?
Yeah. And then we still have about 34% copper to figure out.
$4,700 worth of gold plus some silver. All right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna drop our silver out of our refining solution. So this is all the solution that is left over from when we dissolved the gold fill. So Harry's gonna add in a bunch of copper pipe, and the copper is gonna react with the silver nitrate, convert it to silver metal and copper nitrate. Okay, it's that easy. Just put copper pipe in there. They're turning white gray, and that's the silver getting plated out on those copper pipes and the copper going into solution. Now we're going to take this waste solution, which is essentially the same stuff. Here goes our last beaker.
Oh yeah, look at the colloidal roll in there, man.
Yeah. Look, there's mud on the bottom there. Are we gonna try and filter that out?
Yeah, I'm gonna pour until I see it going out. But is that worth filtering or just dump it in there?
I don't know.
Not worth filtering. Yeah. What's that in there?
Why does Three Tips make this look so easy?
Because this solution is nice, clear, crystal clear blue, and ours is full of colloidal gold. I let that sit overnight, then I'll get all that silver mud, and we can use that to inquart if I get it done in time.
There we go.
There won't be enough, but we'll be able to use it.
Yeah. Get RB his silver back and his gold. Our silver has settled overnight. It's actually been a couple of days now. You can see it cemented out there on the bottom. So now we're going to decant all that liquid off, get the silver out, and we'll melt it down and get a weight on it. Right, now that solution will sit on those copper pipes for until we get a bucket full. Deal with it over the next couple months. We got our pipe out and washed off. Those will go out in our bucket. Just let them sit for a while. Get all the rest of that silver out of the bottom. And here's all our silver mud. That filter works great. Very nice. Here is our little melt dish. We got all of our silver mud in there. Some borax around the edge. Now I'll put it in this monstrosity and melt it down.
That's a lot of silver. Gotta look the button to solidify. Yeah. Okay. Oh! Oh! Wait, not ready. Yeah. Not ready. Oh! Oh, oh. It looks like a cookie. 54, the gold content went up. Yes. Well, iron. Iron. That's it.
Here is our cornflaked, we're calling it metallic ends and clips and springs and stuff. So we're gonna put this in nitric as well. And then whatever gold and silver we get from that, we'll add it back in at the end. Well, we're trying a bunch of different stuff. Some of it's working, some of it's not. But that's how you learn. And again, I love putting that stuff on YouTube so we can all see how not to do it. We got our gold and silver beads. We're gonna go put that in sulfuric, get all the slag cleaned off them, and then we're gonna use the XRF, figure out the percentage of gold and silver in there, and then we can inquart with silver to about 25% gold, and then we'll use nitric and get a gold sponge, and we can recover our silver. Whew, we're almost there. The next step is to get this inquarted and then dissolve it back out with nitric so we can get our gold sponge that we can melt down into a gold bead, and then drop the silver with some thicker copper, and hopefully we don't get any copper contamination from that. We're so close. Here's our two buttons. They cleaned up super nice in the sulfuric. So now we're gonna scan them both. We're gonna inquart this with 92 grams of silver, right?
Yep.
So that's what we need to do for this to get the gold sponge after our second nitric. And we gotta figure out how pure that silver is.
It's cool because this came out of the nitric boils, and then we just recovered it back, so it's free silver.
Yeah,
point.
yeah, that's RB silver.
Yeah, so it's 55.
Yeah, right at 55 gold, 36.5 copper, and 8 silver. And that's percentages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there must have been some rose gold in there. This should be 98.
Okay.
Should, at least. What?
Whoa.
Oh, we
Yeah,
didn't do so good.
Why is there gold in there? Are you getting both beads?
No. That's melt dish contamination.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We'll call it 90%, so it's coin silver.
We screwed that up. Well, there's 4% gold in there, so there's another gram.
4% of 30. What's that?
1.2.
We did have a lot of colloidal gold when we decanted off.
Yes.
So I think that a lot of the colloidal gold got pulled in with this.
With the silver.
So you can see, so if that's a gram, would you say a gram, 1.1?
Yeah, 1.2.
That's how much colloidal gold was in that decanted stuff.
That dropped the silver.
Because the silver captured it, because it was suspended, and the silver captured it when it was doing its thing.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay.
But that's too much for melt dish contamination.
Yeah, that's a lot. There wasn't a gram we lost in the melt dish.
Okay, so if you take your colloidal gold with silver nitrate in it and drop the silver with copper, you can probably collect some of that colloidal gold.
Yeah, the silver will pull the gold with it.
Yeah, so that gets us an extra gram. That's good. Because otherwise it didn't matter how many times it filtered it, how long you wait, it just stayed suspended.
Yeah. This whole video is a big experiment about kind of combining wet chemistry with pyrochemistry, pyrometallurgy, and we're trying to figure out which is the best way to do things, and if the gold plated is worth going after, the magnetics are worth going after, or if it's just the gold fill and karat gold. So I know this isn't the best way to do everything all in the right steps, but we're just experimenting, trying to figure out what works the best, and then we can combine it into kind of like the super flow sheet when we're done.
I like flow sheets.
We're going to inquart now with silver. We need to add 72 0.2 grams of this silver. Oh, that's too much. We're gonna melt this all down together, right? Here's all of our gold, our copper, our silver alloy. We need it to be 25% gold so that when we put it in nitric, there's enough silver and copper around that gold that the acid can get in and eat all the base metals away and the silver, leaving us just a gold sponge. So we need to add silver in to get that percentage up to 25 or down to 25. So our total weight we're going to be melting is 182 grams total, which will give us whatever that's 42 grams, 43 grams of gold. So we're going to melt all this down, cornflake it into water, and then we're going to put it back in nitric and dissolve away everything but the gold.
This is 55% gold, and there is a significant amount of silver in this. This is the silver that we recovered with the copper after the nitric boils, and there's a percentage of gold in there, and then this little bead is from the magnetics. So in this step, Jason is seasoning the melt dish with borax before we put the metal in there. You can do this with oxyacetylene, but oxyacetylene is expensive. So if you have time, you can do it this way too. One little bead didn't want to come out. There it goes. I get it? Yeah, you got it. All right, now this gets rinsed off and put on nitric.
That actually went pretty good.
Yeah.
It's one of the better steps in the whole process for us.
There's our alloy. Different colors, just copper and a little bit of impurities we didn't get out. But what do we figure? $6,400 worth of gold in there?
I hope so.
I hope so too. Here we go for our, I don't know what number nitric boil this is. Bunch.
Benny.
Here's our nice clear liquid after our first nitric boil. You can still see in the bottom of the beaker, that's all gold sponge. Now we're gonna let that cool, rinse it down real good, and do another nitric boil just to make sure we got all of our copper and silver out of there. Okay, we're going to take our nice blue liquid that has a bunch of silver dissolved in it, and we're going to pour it over this copper bus bar. It will cement the silver out, and all that gold sponge will stay in there. Nice clear liquid too, so we don't have a bunch of colloidal gold in there. And here's our nice brown looking gold sponge. That's great. Our last boil here in distilled water. There is no color whatsoever in there, so we know we got all of the nitric solution out of there. Now we're going to do HCl.
We're at the end of our gold recovery day. We have all of our gold sponge from the nitric boil and the inquartation step done. So there's our gold. There should be 42 grams in there. Then we have our silver that we got back from the silver nitrate from boiling this inquarted gold. That's the silver nitrate, so all that silver is dropping out. So that's not bad.
All right, we filtered all the magnetic silver drop mud through our filter. There's our resulting liquid. There's all our filter paper. I'm gonna go smelt this down and get our bead with mostly silver with a little bit of gold, due to the colloidal gold we left with that low alloy gold copper.
There it is. Or it shatters all over. Now we got to get it cleaned up. We'll put it in sulfuric acid, it'll clean it right up.
So this is the XRF results from the magnetics that we did. And we got most of the silver, but a little bit of that colloidal gold snuck over, and we got 2% gold in that little bead of silver.
It definitely dropped out after the sulfuric boil. That was a good test.
Yeah.
So I will carefully dump this in there. I mean, this is probably hardly any gold. I mean, there's gold in there, but
Yeah.
colloidal gold.
But we recovered it, right? We can.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you want to try and filter it? What do you want to do? Don't you want to put it in there? It's up to you.
Dump it in the silver, man.
Dump it in the silver. We'll get it with the silver later. We're going to use this silver to inquart with later, so it's okay. The silver acts as a scrubber, so it will help kind of vacuum up the gold floating around in there, bring it all down to the bottom, and then we'll filter this solution in a couple hours. Add that to our final bead. We should recover all the gold and silver. We have filtered our magnetics. This is the stuff we nitric last night. It's filtered this morning. It's all purple filter paper mud stuff. So now we're just going to incinerate it in our electric furnace. I'll add a little bit of borax. Is there borax in there?
No borax.
Okay, we'll add a
Let
little.
it incinerate first.
We'll add a little bit of borax once it's all incinerated, and then we'll figure out how much gold we had in the magnetics. All of our filter papers burned off, and rather than putting this in the propane furnace to heat it up and melt it, I'm worried it's all going to blow away. I'm just added some borax to it. I'm going to crank this up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're just going to melt it right in the dish it's in and see how much gold we can recover from this.
Oh, it's got gold from the magnetics.
Ooh, 2.4.
2.5.
That's 2.4%.
That's exactly what we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's still beads locked up in your glass
Let's go.
and colloidal gold.
Yeah. So that's just about perfect. So that's like $300 or $400.
Yeah.
We're done chasing those little beads around that melt dish. There's still a few in there, but final weight is 2.8 grams. And there's our...
So I cleaned a little bit of the crap off. It's
Okay,
2.7.
2.75 grams. That's from the magnetics, all that stuff. There's our impurities. So probably 2.5 grams of pure gold in there. Well, here I'll show you our little cheat sheet math department here. This was our magnetic stuff. This is the stuff we just did. We started with a 106 gram button. That's what we worked last night through the nitric boil. The XRF showed it as 2.5% gold. So in theory, we should have recovered 2.6 grams. We recovered 2.4, but there's still probably 0.2 grams that we dumped in that solution there with the silver. So the XRF did a really, really great job of estimating how much gold was in that. And that, Harry, if I'm correct, that's about average gold percent for gold fill in general, right?
Correct.
So that's worth chasing if you can fight off all that magnetic and iron. A side quest here. We're soaking our melt dishes in about 5% sulfuric acid, the rest distilled water, and that'll clean off all that gross oxide slag in there. They should come out pretty nice. The other thing this will do is any little metal beads that are in there will be set free, and we can get them once we wash the melt dishes off. And here's our mostly clean melt dishes. Just kind of made all that stuff in there kind of a gel, all the flux. But I'm excited to get these out, washed off, and see how usable they are. See that? Oh yeah, it all just wipes off. That's great. And here we are with the main show. We're rinsing our gold sponge right now. We're gonna get this melted down. Here we go. The silver is really a sideshow compared to this. This is big time here.
This is the street tips method.
All right, now as long as I don't screw it up, the melting process, we should have at least 2 nines, if not better gold.
All right. There it is.
Okay,
There it is.
here we go. So ideally with this next step, you would put the gold sponge in aqua regia to refine it to 3 or 4 nines fine, depending on how extreme you wanted to go with it. But we are out of time. This is Harry's last afternoon here, and we are just gonna get 2 nines fine button for RB. We'll get his silver out of solution and get that melted down, but we just gotta make a gold button here before he goes. All right. This is all the days and mistakes and equipment and chemicals. This is what it all comes down to right here.
All right, gold, let's see it soon.
Let it cool a little bit more.
It's plastic right now.
Yep. You can see the gold crystals, the gold leaf.
That's good.
All right. Here we go. Oh no, thumb.
There it is.
That looks good.
Mm-hmm.
That looks really good.
Yeah. Little borax staining on it, but that's okay.
Yep. Sulfuric will take care of that. Do the honors, Harry.
All right, let's see what this weighs. And the slag just comes right up. Look at the bottom of that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to.
Beautiful.
All right.
Okay, this is, we were talking about this when it was molten. It needs to weigh, our calculations say 42 grams.
Yeah,
Somewhere
42.
right in there.
It's pretty heavy.
To me, it looks like it weighs about 30.
Yeah.
But,
You want to feel it?
okay. It might be that we're so used to dealing with alloys. Well, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
That's pretty heavy.
All right, put it on the scale.
Okay. The slag is just crystal clear almost. There was hardly any oxides there that we drove off.
42.
Come on, 42.
Let's see if I can do math. Oh,
Ah!
there we go.
44 and a half.
Overshot.
Yes, gotta love that.
Mind you,
Is
we
there
still have
still-
to clean this in sulfuric.
Yeah, we still gotta get it clean. Harry's hoping for 98, I'm hoping for 99.5.
$99.
99.7.
Not bad for nitric boils. With silver impurity, we'll take it.
Yep, no copper, no lead, no tin, no bismuth. I really like that little propane furnace stripping the last couple of % of base metals out of there. It works really, really well for me. I've had really, really good luck with it, getting down just to the gold and silver, just like we did here.
99.7 both sides.
99.7.
We haven't even cleaned it yet.
Hey man,
Nice.
that's pretty good.
That worked.
Congratulations.
Here is the gold from the nitric boils. And we got down to 44.5 grams. And we scanned it with the XRF and it was 99.7 pure. So we got it to 99% just in nitric boils. So that's pretty darn good.
Now we're gonna work on our silver mud. There goes all the silver.
Come on, get out of there.
Wait, it's the filter now.
Ooh, bigger dish.
Bigger dish?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of silver there.
Nah,
Not gonna go?
we can make it fit. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, that'll work.
Expecting 107 grams of silver from this, and there's going to be some contamination, but that's okay.
All right, we cornflaked that silver because I added 75 grams of my own silver because we had to inquart with silver to get our 25% gold alloy to then get our gold sponge, blah, 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 blah. So I need to pull out 75 grams of silver and RB will get the rest. Okay, RB, your silver is 99.3 silver, 0.35 gold, and just a hair of copper. That's pretty good. We did good.
It's not bad.
We did great. Look at that. First time.
Yeah, so you got 44 and 2.2 grams of gold at 99%, and then I forgot what that thing is, the silver, but that's at
99.3.
99.3, and I forgot what it weighs. It's like 34.
34, 35.
From 1,092 grams of gold fill.
Oh, Harry and I are done. I can't remember what we filled with the XRF, but the results from the gold were 99.7% pure with a little bit of silver contamination. And the results from the silver were 99.3 with just a hair, a little bit of copper left in there. So really good results for RB. Let's take him over to his place, show him what we got, and see what he thinks. All right, we're back here at Bellingham Coin Shop. Let's go in and show RB his gold and see what he thinks. RB, good morning.
Good morning.
I've got some gold and silver for you.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what we have.
The final tally.
You actually got some gold out of it.
I did. I got quite a bit.
Oh, that is all gold?
That's
And
gold
silver?
and silver. Yeah. Separate.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
What a button. Wow, and a little button
There's a
too.
little button. That was our first 100 grams, and then the rest is out of the remaining 1,000 or so.
Wow. Way more than I thought, and plus, I didn't expect you to get any silver out of there, so that's super bonus.
Yeah. No, it was super fun. There was a lot more karat gold than we thought in there. You had some bracelets and some other things that got mislabeled or thrown in the batch. So.
Sure. 2 grams on the little button. That's more than I thought. Wow, then this thing's that's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's pure gold.
That's 99.7% pure.
That's pretty pure.
46.5 grams or so right there.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
At today's gold value, that's gonna be $6,800. Wow.
You got a lot of money sitting in that box.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, we're gonna have to do some more, I think.
For sure. Let's see how much silver we got. 41 grams of silver.
And how's that for purity?
90, I think that's 99.4.
That's another $100 bill.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's hilarious that this is 6,800 or whatever you said.
Yeah.
And this is about the same amount as worth like $100. But yeah, it's definitely worth catching.
That is awesome. I am going to take your advice and make a little button out of this. Put my top hat on there.
Yeah.
And do you have a stamp? Because it'd be really cool if I put your stamp on there.
Yeah, I think we should work on doing something in the future with stamps or coins or bars or something.
Yeah.
So
That'd be really cool.
let us know what you guys think. Would you be interested in coins or bars from RB and Mount Baker Mining and Metals? Leave me a comment down below.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, RB. I really appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, if you're ever in the Bellingham area, check out the Bellingham Coin Shop. He's got a lot of cool stuff here. A big thanks to RB. He's also got Instagram, and he's coming out with a YouTube channel as well, so check those out. And thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you on the next video.